and so is Lola, who just howled to come inside from being outside. And now we have to wait to see when she will woo to go outside.
Back out again.
Right. I don't actually know if I'm here until my existence is validated by others. You will throw folks off because the screen will come up and you won't be there.
I know.
But as I'm speaking now, you're here.
Right.
That delay is wild. It's necessary, but it's wild.
Yeah.
Right. Kim has validated our existence. Thank you.
Cool.
Hello. Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. This is our weekly live stream. We'll record our podcast, the audio version of which hits all major podcast apps every Friday. We are here 6 minutes early. If you are here for the live stream and you do not like idle chit-chat, you got a few minutes to go do whatever you got to do. If you are here after the live stream, but before I put in timestamps and you don't like idle chit-chat, fast forward by at least 6 minutes. I will say there is at least one announcement. Two announcements that if you normally skip through the announcements, maybe don't skip that part because like we got stuff like scheduling stuff.
Important shit, man.
We think it's important, but we think all of our announcements are important. So we clearly have a bias. Anyway, I'm going to say hello to folks.
Say hello.
Hi Kitty. Hi Base Eats. Hi Andre. Hi Kim. Hi Yarn and Whiskey. Hi Claire. Hi Lady Blooding. Hi Dorina. Hi Rara. I don't know if this will continue, but I was very worried that after 2 weeks of not doing this, I would just forget all of my words. And I have not so far, knock on wood. We still have the questions to get through. We still have the questions to get through.
Yeah, the questions.
So, butt rub. What you got for the butt rub?
Not much. Florida, it's hot.
Yeah, it was making me sick to my stomach a few minutes ago. And then, I don't know how visible it is on camera for y'all, but a lovely person, I don't know if they listen to the podcast or watch the stream or the video or both, I don't know, but they sent me this neck cooling doololly through Amazon. Thank you to that person. It had their first name on it, but I don't want to say it, anonymity. We're all kinksters here, or at least kink adjacent. And it's got like this gel stuff in it, and you pop it in the fridge or the freezer until it hardens, and then you put it it's like a reverse collar. And it does not cool me off completely, but once I put this back on my neck, when we came in here, we were getting ready to do this. I started feeling nauseous. It was so damn hot. I put this on, and I am still warm, but I am not nauseous. So that's a win. Thank you to the person who sent me this.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, I use it. I'm not used to having it. I knew I was going to use it for recording. Did you hit your toe again? Oh, JB's been through it. We'll talk about that in the bonus section.
Yeah.
But I knew I was going to wear it for recording / streaming, but then I didn't think about it outside of that. And then I was packing up orders the other day at 8:30 in the morning, and I was dripping sweat, and I went, wait, let me go get this. And I put it on, and I was still hot, but it was less hot.
Yeah, I think we're done preheating.
We're fully, this oven is heated. It's ready to cook.
We're in it. So, yeah.
Hi Charlotte. This they apparently got it from Amazon. It did not have like a name brand to it, so I don't know. I don't even know what term you would use to search for it.
Know.
Neck cooling. Probably can't use a reverse collar as a search term.
Yeah, no, that wouldn't. I don't think that would work.
What I would love for somebody to invent, if they haven't already, is something like this, but for under boob. Because I would just like to wrap the girls in this ice. Man, I'd be so happy. I'd be so happy. So yeah, I might mention this again later because I don't know if the person was a podcast listener, but if you are a video stream watcher, thank you. This is definitely coming in handy.
Well, I've been thinking I might look into getting one of those cloths like we got for the youngest.
Well, the youngest is not using their cloth, so if it's not bad, then it's a cooling cloth, and once you get it wet, it basically stays damp for a very long time, and you can, put it around your neck, whatever, and then when you store it, stays damp without going yucky. Hi, Silent. Let us hope that was actually true, but it's been a hot minute.
Okay.
At the time that we purchased it, it was a reasonable price. This cooling towel, now that we're talking about, we got it from Rural King for $10, but that was a while ago.
That's where it came from? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And prices have never stayed the same over the past few years, so I don't know what it would be now. But yeah, I like this because it. Now here's the other really nice thing for anybody who might be asking. Whatever this gel stuff is on the inside that freezes, there's no condensation. I'm not getting drippy wet on my collar.
Oh wow. Okay.
Right. So that is another thing I really like about this. So my hair's not getting wet, my shirt's not getting wet. It's just cold. You can touch me and feel where it's been on me. And when I put it on, when it's still like frozen solid, if you've ever like put ice on your skin and sometimes it hurts a little bit, no, not like that at all. Not like that at all. It is exactly 1 o'clock. We can get started. Woo! Okay.
Hello, everybody.
As you can tell from the title, we're going to answer kinky questions because it had been a hot minute. It had been since March since we'd done one of these. We asked for questions over on Instagram. We've been too quiet on Instagram, so we did not get as many questions as we usually do. So there is a very good chance that we will ask for questions from live chat. Please hold your question if you have one. We'll tell you how to do that if we're able to take them. So there's that. If you enjoy this, we love a thumbs up. If you like it enough to want to come back for more, please consider subscribing.
And go ahead and ring that notification bell to get updates and new content.
Just do it, Daddy says. Also, if you are looking for some kink community that's friendly and open and chill, we're about to be talking about our summer schedule, which is shifting. But you might miss us a little bit as we shift things. You'll get more of us if you come over to Patreon. You get some extra content, blah, blah, blah. If you do all that through our Patreon, patreon.com/KaylaLords, as little as $2 a month, we would love it, and hopefully you will love it. If you're ever a person who has either participated or watched the live chat, whether live or after the fact, and thought, oh, this is hilarious, that's the vibe in our Discord. It's quiet there a lot, but once people show up and start chatting, like when everybody's not crazy busy, that's the vibe. So, okay. Yeah, and Silent is in the live chat going, wait, there's a chance of taking chat questions and I'm the only mod here. Yes, Silent, but we will keep our eyes on it. So if you take your call and it'll be okay. We will do our part. And Mr. Spock is here. Yay, even better. So yeah, that's that on that. We'd love to have you through our Patreon. Supports the work we do. You get hopefully some good vibes and some extra stuff that you enjoy. And since our summer is about to get a little funky, that's a way to kind of keep up with us. Yeah. We'll get into that as soon as JB pushes the magic button.
And away we go.
Okay, so before I look at questions and we try to answer them, let us do our announcements.
Yes.
The first one. Live stream folks already know we're hot as fuck because we can't stop bitching about it. We are going to our summer schedule. Last summer was the first time we did this. We are just as unorganized about it this year as we were last year. Starting next week, the first Wednesday in June, I don't know what date that is, but it's the first Wednesday in June, our live stream time is changing because we cannot sit in this room at 1 p.m. Eastern during the Florida summer. We're going to start live streaming our episodes on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern when it is slightly cooler and the fan and the AC actually can make this room cool down a little bit. The audio podcast still coming out on Friday as usual. Nothing with that changes. I know that the time change means that some people who normally watch will not be able to watch at all. I am so sorry for that. But I don't know if I can do live streams while I'm nauseous because of the heat. So I don't want to try. We know this will be in effect June, July, and August. We will decide on September when we get to September. If it is a hotter than usual summer, as they all have been, thanks to climate change, we might have to extend this into September as well. Yeah. So 7 p.m. I will try to put out as many reminders because I know there are folks out there like me that's like, you have a schedule in your mind and having to shift that throws you off. I totally get it. We will be thrown off at least the first couple of times. The other change we're making, because of all kinds of reasons, including the very hot summer and the very hot office that is not cooled properly at this point, we are going to take a break from our Monday episodes through the summer. That's our Q&A episodes.
Right.
Our inbox is still open for questions. I would love to get questions over the summer. So when we come off of our summer schedule and we're doing Q&A again,
just jump back in.
Right, go right down the list. We will have an episode that comes out next Monday, which is the first Monday in June as of recording. And then that'll be the last one until we get back. Because streaming in the evening is great. We do not live a life where we could functionally record video at night and then we have time to edit. But that's a daytime thing. Cannot record during the day. We cannot. So figured we just
Yeah, this room was warm enough.
take it easy this summer.
In and of itself, and then you add in all the lights.
I have a
and all the
constant line of
electronics.
sweat on my upper lip where my glasses touch my cheeks. That is perpetually sweaty and wet. My hairline all the way around my face. It's very sweaty. And I am wearing the cooling neck thing that some kind listener / watcher sent me through Amazon. Thank you to that person. And it is working, but Florida's hot, y'all. It's very hot. It's very humid. And this room is great for recording when it doesn't feel like you're sitting on the surface of the sun. So all that being said, we're just calling it a summer schedule. We're lightening things up so we can spend less time in this office. Everything slows down in the summer anyway. Yeah. The heat, for one, and just because people are out living their life in the summer. So we're just, did it take us 10 years to finally figure this out? Yeah, it did. It did. Here we are. Okay, so those are our two announcements. Now we're going to get into questions. We asked for questions over on Instagram at that handle I will forever fucking hate. And that's real. I will forever fucking hate it. There are reasons I cannot change it to what I want. Nobody asked that question, so I'm not going to go on that rant. We are going to start this episode, podcast, stream, thing, whatever, with those questions. There were too many that we're not even going to acknowledge because what the hell is wrong with people? So we may have time to take some questions from the YouTube live chat during the stream. If we get to that point, I will explain how we will do that, and then we will go from there. So, first question. How to navigate dynamics of a dom organizing a threesome with his two very similar subs. God, the look on his face. Podcast listeners, I'm sorry you didn't get to see the look on his face. Go ahead.
Talk.
Well, I'm going to say the snarky thing, and apologies to this person.
Yeah.
If you've already done the work. Do your two very similar submissives both know about one another, get along with each other, and have they been like, hell yeah, let's do a threesome? If you've got that, then it goes back to, okay, now sit in a circle somewhere and hash this out.
I think the biggest thing you're going to need to demand, or one of the biggest things in my mind, are the expectations. Something like that.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Because you can, let's face it, you can blow it up in your head and, woohoo.
And I think the submissives may be very similar in your mind, but I have no doubt there will be very clear differences on preferences and certain ways of, behaving and things they like. So while you are very mindful of how they're like, I would spend time digging into where they're different and where there could be some potential pain points, I also would think back to within this relationship or these relationships, has there been insecurity? Has there been envy? Has there been jealousy for when you're with one person and not the other? If any of that is there and has never been properly addressed and dealt with on some level, I can absolutely see it coming out in the middle of a threesome or in the aftermath of a threesome. So yeah, the fun part is I'm sure, is the talking about what you're going to do. And depending on the type of dom you are, maybe you're used to having a whole hell of a lot of control. But it's, as I've been told by JB, it's hard managing one sub at a time. I can only imagine how it might be with two at a time. But yeah, I don't think anybody is surprised that the main answer is you got to communicate.
Right.
But I think it's,
Right.
if you're used to planning scenes primarily on your own and maybe just letting your sub know and, you know, checking for consent, as I assume you are doing, I don't think this is the time to plan it alone. I think
No.
to the extent that they are willing to be a part of the conversation, and I hope they are very willing to be, everybody needs to be in on some of the planning conversations.
You know, everybody involved needs to sit down, have a cup of coffee, and chat, or beverage of choice, whatever that may be.
Right.
And, you know, just talk.
Right. And I don't think this is a time, if you or your subs are like this is a time to try to do your best to not be people pleasers. Do not, your subs do not need to be saying what they think you want to hear or what they think the other person wants to hear.
Right.
If the idea of doing a certain act with another human being that's not you really bothers them, they need to be able to go, I don't like that. That really bothers me.
Yeah.
So those are the things from a dominant perspective, I'd say you need to watch for, especially if you know these submissives as well as you feel like you do, then you know when they're not telling you what they really feel. Maybe they're telling you what you want, they think you want to hear. You know when they when they
Hold back.
Thank you. Yes. And you kind of got to go, nope, that's not acceptable here. That's not going to make this a good thing for anybody. Does that sound boring and kind of clinical? Sure. But if you want to continue having what I'm assuming are healthy relationships after said threesome, get fucking clinical with it. Like, just, don't rely on fantasy and just what you think you want to do. Okay.
Yep.
Our next question is not about kink at all. It's about us.
Uh-oh.
What was your wedding like?
Interesting.
Chaotic as everything we do
yeah.
is. So I think this person probably did ask just to see, did we have like a kinky wedding? We tried to have some elements of kink in our wedding, and it did not go to plan. Because the person who was supposed to officiate our wedding was a kink friend, somebody who owned a dungeon, somebody we'd played with before. Like, it was supposed to be super cool. They were going to work with us on like non-standard, non-traditional
vows and stuff,
so we could like slip in kink under the radar, right? Power exchange, and then they bailed on us and ghosted us.
Yeah.
And if it was not for my aunt, who is like legally allowed to officiate weddings in the state of Florida, it would have been the actual like official documentation part would have been in the fucking courthouse. So I was grateful for her. I was very pissed about the other because that was the only real thing where we felt like we could, air quote this, safely add kink in, and none of our non-kink people would have clocked it. But we needed help with that. Like, I might have been a full-time writer at the time, but I was not that creative. So, and we did not get that. We kept it inexpensive and easy. We got married on a cruise ship out in the Tampa Bay, bay, so that we had the ceremony, the food, the dancing, entertainment, all contained to a 2-hour cruise. So we had to clean up. We didn't have to like go somewhere easy. I was supposed to have a kink friend be the photographer. They bailed on me. They legitimately had like stuff going on, but they sort of told me very late in the planning process. So a family member who is an amateur photographer, she loves taking pictures, you know, she's not a wedding photographer, but she was like, I got a camera, I'm willing to. I was like, thank you. We really appreciated her. Purple was the main color with accents of gray. It's silver, but kind of came out as gray. So my dress was purple. It was, got it from Amazon actually. It's kind of in a sort of air quote 50s style because it had kind of that tight bodice, and then I got a petticoat thing, and it zooped out, and my petticoat was silver gray and my dress was purple, and I went on like a Whole30 keto thing for a month, did not touch one drop of sugar, and looked snatched in that dress. But then the day of the wedding I was like, I need sugar again. I tried to have my hair was about the length that it is now. Podcast listeners, it's a bob that goes to my chin. I tried to have it curled. Between my hair being super straight and the heat and humidity, curls fell. But I could not stop smiling the whole time.
No, you didn't.
The one air quote power exchangey thing we did is anytime I wanted a drink, I had to ask JB if I was allowed to have a drink. He allowed many drinks. It's very appreciative. But I danced until I embarrassed my children. Both kids walked me down the aisle. They got shy right as we were supposed to start walking, so I basically dragged them down the aisle because I was like, I am ready to get married. Come on.
We're doing this.
We're doing this. I could not stop smiling. I just cheesed the whole time. So, and then we were supposed to get one night kid free. Like, my mom was in town. I was like, hey, I'll take the kids. Y'all enjoy your one night. And we spent our one night seeking out food and ended up at a Waffle House at midnight.
Yeah.
Then ate too much at midnight and didn't do anything sexual or kinky on our wedding night.
We were wore out.
We were wore out. But we were fucking married, man.
Yeah.
Now,
we were.
Being married was important to us, but we've been together so long and we're so unbothered by any of it. We don't remember. We remember the date. I know when my anniversary is. I can never remember what year I was married. Was it 2017 or was it 2018? I remember what day we got engaged because JB very helpfully did it on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you, right? I was very grateful for that. I did not change my legal last name because I'd already been there, done that in the first marriage. I went, oh no, I'm not going through that bullshit again. JB's like, cool, I don't give a fuck. Truly, with our relationship, we did it for the insurance and tax breaks you get when you were legally married to another adult. That is what we did it for. It had meaning to us, but I think our power exchange was in some ways more meaningful.
Yeah.
But you don't get a tax break.
With a power exchange.
Right. No, and I wanted the legal benefits of being married. I also explained to him there was no takebacks. There was no refunds, no exchanges. You were in it for fucking life. So you better be sure. And so now he's stuck here. Okay. Okay, next question. Let me get my phone back up because I did not turn off the go to sleep thing. Okay, this is a big one, and we will probably only be partially helpful. We're both submissives. What do we do?
Well, couple choices.
Probably more choices than you realize.
Yeah. I assume what you're saying is you're both submissives in a relationship?
Yeah, yep. I take it to be they're in a relationship and they're both submissive.
Both submissive.
Right.
If what you are looking for, each of you is different than the other, then you can kind of strike out on your own and find your own person.
If you're both open to that.
If you're both open to that.
And it doesn't have to be sexual and romantic either. It can be platonic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
sure.
It depends on what submissive is to them.
Sure.
Okay. I agree. If submission to you is, masochism, then you find a play partner maybe.
Can your partner provide what you need as a service situation? Are either of y'all comfortable topping for each other?
Right. I have heard of couples who have sought a D-type to...
One D-type to rule them all?
Rule them all, yeah.
Gotcha, okay.
Yeah.
Which, I think if you can find it, that's great. I think that, that might be more challenging, right? Like it's sort of that unicorn hunting thing that happens in other kinds of non-monogamous situations.
Yeah.
Let's not treat somebody like a kink dispenser. If you happen to find that, I think that's great. But I agree with you that if y'all are open to the idea of having power exchange experiences outside of your immediate relationship with one another, go seek that out. But for anybody, if either of you are uncomfortable with the idea of a sexual or romantic relationship with another person, platonic power exchange, platonic kink absolutely exists. I don't think that means that you just act like it's not that big of a deal because it's not sexual or romantic. You still have to negotiate it. You still have to figure out boundaries. You still have to navigate whatever feelings are going to come up. But a lot of people will reject I can't go outside of my relationship because they are imagining it, as in a type of relationship they already have with another partner, and they don't want that. So, But I would, if there are activities that one of you really wants and the other one's like, I don't want to experience that, but maybe maybe I can top you. Like, it's not the exact same experience as a power exchange where a dominant does all of those things for the submissive. I get that, but if it gives you some experiences and some sensations you want, and if you were the subby partner who would act as the top in that situation, some people get, they don't like not being in the submissive mindset, then that's when I say mind fuck yourself and consider it an act of service. If that vibes with your submissive self.
Some people can do that, others can't.
Exactly. But I think it's a matter of getting creative, thinking outside of the box, thinking outside of titles and roles and labels. I think there's ways to navigate it. Your relationship just probably isn't going to look like any, air quote this, average relationship. But we're in kink, y'all. None of our relationships look like the average relationship.
No.
It's all customizable.
Right.
So,
That's true.
Okay, next one. Best advice for new subs, and where can I find ritual ideas? So, let me start with the second question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Ritual for what?
Yeah.
Like, there's no one size fits all of ritual. You can ritualize literally anything. I ritualize making coffee. I ritualize bending over naked and asking for permission to go to bed. It was not a ritual that I discovered on the internet. It was something we agreed to do, and we ourselves have created a ritual around it. So
and when it comes to rituals and things like that, just like one of the biggest questions get asked, what can we do for punishment? Along the same line. And the true answer is we can't tell you. It's hard to say, because what is your S-type like?
Right.
Okay. What do they like? What don't they like?
Right.
This one likes spanking. That's not a very
no.
That would not deter.
Because at this point, even when you give the mean spanking that's no fun, I'm still a little delighted that my ass is getting attention.
Right.
So let's go back to rituals.
Anywho.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what rituals? What do you want them for? Do you want them something? Do you want them to be something you do for yourself to get into a submissive mindset? Do you want them to be something you do to show devotion to your partner? Do you want, what purpose is it supposed to serve, and who is it for? Right. And then from there you can go, okay, well, what's meaningful? Yeah. When you're doing something for a partner, or the partner's doing something for you, then it's extremely personalized, because what do they want and need? What's going to hit their buttons, right? If it's something for you, for your own mindset, you may have more resources available than you realize. Submissiveguide.com is a very good site for all kinds of ideas and perspectives on submission. I'm sure there are submissive groups on FetLife that, where people are talking about these kinds of things. So that would be the answer to that. Now, oh my gosh, I've already forgotten the first part of the question. Best advice for new subs? That's a very broad question. Yeah. Do you have something that comes to mind?
Learn. Understand what submission means to you as a new sub. Submission means many things to many people. All right, and no two are the same, exactly the same.
And some of that you're going to figure out with a partner, but there's plenty to learn on your own. You don't, a lot of my kink education was led by JB, but anything beyond that, I sought out. And there are resources absolutely that are created just for submissives in mind, just for dominance in mind, right? Submissiveguide.com being a great one. So I will not add that. I'll give you a second piece of advice to go with that, because JV's 100% right. So you get a twofer. Whether online or in person, yes, even if you are like me and find it very difficult to be social, try to find community. Try to find people who, even if they do not submit the way you do, even if they do not view power exchange and kink quite the way you do, but they accept you, you accept them, the vibe is right, find that community, because there's a lot of reasons it can be very helpful and important if it's a good community, right? Do not hesitate to withdraw yourself from a bad community, toxic community, negative community, right? Any place you don't feel welcome, right?
Yep.
But there's the semi-normalization of what you're doing. When you are out there on your own, knowing you're submissive, knowing you're kinky, and you don't have any interaction, online or in person, with other kinky people, it is very easy to feel isolated and that you are the only one. You are never the only one. Also, if you can have community and spaces in this situation, other submissives, right? As you make friends or get into conversations or just get to watch what other people are talking about, you will learn, here's some red flags to watch out for. Oh, here's sub frenzy. Maybe I need to be careful with that. You learn a lot from each other. And then if you get fortunate enough to make like genuine friendships, hopefully you have somebody who will go, hey, that person you're talking to, they're 3 red flags in a trench coat, so or like if you have to go through the awfulness that is a power exchange breakup, you have somebody in your corner to go, we're here for you, we care about you, you're valid, also fuck that guy, or whatever you need. Look, I am both I will sit with you in silence and let you just cry and cry and cry and talk your head off to process. I'm also the one who'll be like, oh yeah, we hate that motherfucker. I don't know what he did. I don't know the guy. Never saw him. Am I assuming it's a guy? I mean, that could be my own baggage showing, but you know what I mean. So, yeah, for new subs, education and community.
Yep.
The top pieces of advice.
There you go.
Okay, next question. Dynamic of 4+ years, now in love. How do we bring back the fire of power exchange in us both?
How to reignite that that fire.
Yeah. I have thoughts. I'm just trying to actually give you room.
Give me room.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Yeah. See, I can't talk. I'm gonna defer to you.
2 weeks off. See what happened?
Yeah.
One of us had to go tongue-tied. Okay. So my first thought, and this is my bias showing because of what we've gone through. Why did the fire die over however many years?
Yeah.
Was it life situations that have pulled you away from power exchange? Was it the downside of routines, which turn into ruts where you're doing the same thing over and over again, but not putting a lot of thought into it? Is it that your life was different in the beginning and so your power exchange was different, but it didn't shift? It either had to stop completely because your life changed enough that didn't work anymore, or you've been trying to do the same thing you always did, but your life looks different now. All right? Is it that the power exchange, the kink stuff you did at one point is no longer as exciting? Like that's to me the first part. You got to kind of get a handle on how and why did we get here, because to me that's what helps you figure out how do we kind of find a new path,
navigate out of it,
right? Because if it's life stressors that life's been beating you down, because we get it, sometimes you have to just kind of get through that, right?
Yeah.
Is it that your life has just shifted and you never talked about it again? Well, now let's plan a conversation. I think it's a start small, pick something.
Yeah.
We've started saying more and more recently that when you pick that something small and slow to start off with to kind of build it back up, start with the thing you were both super excited about, super turned on by, you're oh, I have missed this, right? Because you both need to look forward to it. There needs to be some level of enthusiasm there. And then when you do it, even if it's imperfect and maybe it gets goofy and you have to laugh it off, you've still shared this experience where you were like both like, yeah, let's fucking do this. Makes it a little easier to go to the next thing. What would you add?
I think you did just fine with that.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Okay, next one. Okay, a part of me does not want to get to do this one, but a part of me does.
Okay.
Because the answer is the same as it was for anything else. But here we go. How to introduce swinging with your partner.
Time to sit down and have a conversation.
I mean, that's the obvious answer for sure.
And the best way to do that is to do it in a non-judgmental manner.
With as few expectations as you can have going into that conversation.
Yep.
But it's no different than introducing your partner to kink. Introducing them to power exchange if you never did that before. Introducing them to a new kink to try that y'all haven't tried before. You need to have an idea of what, some understanding that you have of it and some understanding of yourself of what maybe you would like to experience. And then you need to have patience. You need to be willing to come back to this conversation multiple times. You also need to understand and be willing to fucking drop it if they go, that's a hard no. I don't want to even talk about this. This is not going to be my thing. You then have to decide where you want to go from there with the relationship you have. How important is this to you? So be prepared to share the resources you have on learning about, in this case, swinging. If you don't have resources, you need to go out and get some to make sure you are well versed in, ethical practices and risk awareness and like just how the swinging culture can operate. And I'm sure it's like the kink communities, everybody's different in some way. But yeah,
things like health assurances and things
all
like
kinds
that.
of I'm not going to ever talk on swinging because I have no knowledge, no experience, no real interest. Like that's not my jam. I have read a couple of fictional romances about it, and that was intriguing, but that's not the same. So yeah, I mean it's not a one and done conversation.
No.
Even if they say yes, right? And you have to walk the fine line of, are they unsure but willing to keep talking about it versus are they unsure and they want to drop it for a while and they want to think about it, and then you have to like make sure you're not pressuring your partner. Like that's red flag trench coat behavior right there. But yeah, you need to come with information and resources and
correct.
But don't bombard your partner in the first conversation. Right?
Yeah,
we always say when we're talking about kinks and you want to introduce a partner to the idea of it, I like to start with hypotheticals. Like, have you heard of that? What if, what do you think of that? Instead of jumping in and going, hey, I want to fucking do this. And your partner's like, what the hell? Where's this come from?
Kind of dip your toes in the water and test the waters first.
Exactly. Okay. And then, trying to refresh. Yep. Okay. We have one last question from Instagram. Now, I'm going to stop here, because I'm going to tell live chat what to do so they can be doing it while we're doing the last question. Okay, so we are going to take questions from YouTube live chat from the live stream. To ask your question in live chat, you need to tag us. Just type @LovingBDSM. It lights up first, we can see it. 2, your question needs to fit within whatever the character limit is of one post comment thingy in live chat. If it's multiples, that's too much for where we're at now. You can send it to us through our contact page on our website. Link is down below. And that might be a Q&A episode when we come back from that. And also, if you think we are not answering your question fast enough and you decide you want to spam the channel, don't. But if you do, you will be put in a timeout because our moderators are awesome. Okay, so while live chat folks are thinking if they have a question, and hell, if nobody has questions, I am happy to bullshit for a very long bonus section. This is easy for me. Our last question from Instagram. What's one kink that you would like to try but haven't had the chance to? Either one of us.
What would be the one thing? I think I would have to say probably suspension.
Yeah. I could see that being like your thing. And to be clear, you do not want to be suspended. You would like to suspend somebody else.
Correct.
Right. I I would not, you know this, I'm not telling you anything new.
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all something that's probably not new either. I would not be the partner for that. Not because I'm like, have some aversion to that kind of bondage, or I am already an anxious girl, and there is something about leaving the ground that makes me very panicky. I also have all of the childhood stuff from being bullied for not being apparently the right weight and body shape. So I walk around life going, I am too heavy for things. I am likely not too heavy for things. I have seen people with similar bodies to mine and larger get suspended safely, happily, like they've had the moment and it's been great. But my brain goes, you have left the ground, you're going to fall. And I don't care about bondage enough to put myself
To
through
do
it.
that. Okay.
That
All
is
right.
not a fear that I want to like work through. I don't know. Thank you. I have literally not thought about new kinks in literal years. Like I want to do the kinks I like already that we never have time enough for.
Do. Mhm. Yeah.
That is what I want to do. Yeah, I think part of it is I feel like I'm a very, very simple, kinky girl. I like a few things, and when I like them deeply, and then I'm kind of good for, I'm happy to explore and experiment if there's a thing we're going to like one-off try. I'm mostly open to that, but, I have not come across anything online, through research, through whatever. I have not come across anything like, oh yeah, I would like to try that. I truly just want enough time for the kinks I'm already fucking into. That's where I'm at. Oh my God, I'm so hot. Just a reminder for anybody who's watching live, we are accepting questions. Please tag us. Please don't make it too long. Please don't spam the channel. But if we don't get questions, truly, we've got plenty to complain about from our 2-week break, which did end up being a decent break. Okay. JB! Podcast folks, people who don't look at live chat after when you watch the video, JB asked a fucking question because you want to get me ranting and you want me to sweat this makeup off, don't you? You want my glasses to just slide off my face from the sweat because I will pump my own blood pressure up. It's because I said something. I did it to myself.
Yeah, you did.
JB asks, why can't you change the handle you will forever fucking hate? Because I can't get the handle I want. We originally, when I started our Instagram account for Loving BDSM, the handle was fucking Loving BDSM. And then Instagram came under Meta, and Facebook had their fucked up rules that they didn't even want certain names or acronyms or grouping of letters in a handle on Facebook or on Instagram. And when we've somehow showed up on the fucking vanilla side of Instagram, and somebody clearly reported us, and Instagram does what Instagram and Facebook do, and with no communication and no warning and no reason, the account got yanked and banned. And so I could not get that handle back to begin with. I could also not get any iteration of Loving BDSM where the name clearly you could tell was supposed to be Loving BDSM. Not with letters, not with numbers, no, with fucking nothing. The best I could come up with was Loving and DS, because DS for, right, Power Exchange. But that wasn't enough characters, so I had to add a goddamn 1 on the end. I hate that. So, yeah, I can technically change the handle. And maybe one of these days I need to go see if the rules have changed a little bit, but then I won't have the running joke, and we won't have the lore of having the handle I fucking hate. So, that is why.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, JB. Now, we have a real question from Paul. Thank you, Paul. How do y'all deal with long days, or at the end of the day, one is in like a bratty mood and the other one wants nothing more than to shut down and forget the world exists? For us, it's not bratty, it's sassy and playful. But yeah, I totally get that vibe. Go ahead. How do you handle that?
Trial and error.
You got you an obedient sub is what you've got.
Yeah, I do. You know, it comes down, and I think what I have learned over time, because I overstepped that bounds a little bit a number of times, but it comes down to mutual respect. You know, if she's just not in the mood, and I understand how she gets overstimulated, and you know, different things affect her. So I respect her when she says she needs that downtime to.
And I know I'm safe enough to go, I can't do this tonight.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's not, I'm not going to get in trouble for telling my daddy Dom that I was not on the same wavelength that he was for tonight. But like at night, this happened to us last night. The other way around. Like I said, I get sassy and playful. I got some severe fucking bedtime zoomies.
Oh God, yeah.
I mean, I was surprised. I don't think the supplements are supposed to work quite that fast. I feel like that's just a placebo effect. I'm taking new supplements and whatever. Started them yesterday. Anyway, and so I was wild in bed. Like, not wild like riding him like a fucking bunkum.
No,
Bronco.
bouncing off the wall.
Bouncing off the walls. And JB has this ability, and even in my like foggiest moments, it cuts through. He literally goes, "Not tonight, baby girl." Now, do I pout?
Of course she does.
Do I, huff, and especially when it's in bed, roll
she
over
does.
real heavy? Yes. But we know each other well enough to know he knows I'm not serious and I'm not being disrespectful. That's like, let me baby girl the moment out, and we'll get there, because I'm going to respect the fact that he's like, I can't tonight.
Yeah.
Now, what I would say is if every night for some length of time is like that, it's time to figure out when you can plan for some time to reconnect, because that's the thing that usually ends up being the worst for us is we will be too tired, too overstimulated, too whatever, too many days in a row, and we're not getting any of what we need, and we're not as connected as we usually are. And then we have to like actively make it happen.
Yeah.
So, or I like to say, fall back on small things. Fall back on little things that have meaning to y'all, but don't require a lot of energy or effort, right?
True.
But yeah. Oh, gosh. I'm so hot. I'm so hot.
It's kind of warmish.
There's a reason we went through the schedule change. I'll do that again for anybody who missed it in the beginning, is joining after the fact. Had already forgotten, because I know how memories work. We are changing our live stream schedule for the summer. June, July, August, for sure, possibly September. We are now live streaming on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern, when it is slightly cooler, and when we do the cool down things, they actually start to work, because this heat right here is miserable right now. And then we are also taking a break from our Monday episodes through that same time, because in our schedule and the way our life and work and everything operate, the best time to record those videos is in the middle of the day, and that is what we are trying to avoid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that is happening. Again, feel free for anybody who's watching live on YouTube to get in a question. I'm happy to maybe take one more, or if we get to 1:45 p.m. by our computer clock and there's no questions, we'll go into a bonus section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yay.
You know, it's funny. I love to just hang out and just chit chat and like whatever until it gets hot like this. And it really mostly just pisses me off, because I would happily like just bullshit around for however long, but I get nauseous when I get hot like this. Once I get hot, I stay hot even once I'm in a cool place. I don't know if I should blame the perimenopause on that. I don't know. I just know it happens, and it's worse now. Like I've been living in the South my whole fucking life. I understand heat, but the get hot, stay hot, and can't cool down no matter what you do. Ooh, that's new. That's new.
Yeah.
But yeah. I think, spoilers for anybody who gives a fuck about this kind of thing, I think next week will be a BDSM Reddit episode. We haven't done one of those in a hot minute. Yep. Yeah, if the room is slightly cooler, I have no problem ranting.
Yeah. Well,
And I know I should have worn my hair up today, but I literally just got it cut yesterday, day before recording. And it's cute. And I was like, I was too. What's the word I want? There's a word I want. I can't think of it. I could have had her go shorter and more obvious with what she did. But I hesitated at the last minute, and I don't know. It's been 15 months since my last haircut, so in another 15 months, if I recall, I'll go shorter, because it's supposed to be an asymmetrical bob. So for anybody who's like, what the fuck, the back of your haircut is shorter and it angles, and so the longest part is at the front of your face. And I wanted it very, very subtle because I wasn't sure if it would look like I'd look crazy with it. And then when she was done, I was like, I should have said more, but I didn't want to sit there any longer. So, oh my gosh.
I know.
Well, it's hot. I feel sorry for anybody who's like, I thought this is a podcast with people talking about things, and we're just like, do. I'm running out the clock at this point. I'm waiting to see if a question comes in.
Mm-hmm.
Less than a minute, according to our clock. And then we'll go into a bonus section.
Mm-hmm. Taking down.
The clock changed. No new questions came through. We're going to go into a bonus section now.
Okay.
Yay! Okay. You're going to hit buttons.
Yep.
I'm going to try and remember how all this works.
Okay. So are we ready?
Sure.
Okay. Keep it kinky, y'all.
And we'll see you next week. Okay, and we talk to the crickets.
Sure.
It's really you who needs to talk because you've been through it.
Well, I'm not going to talk a whole lot about.
Yeah.
I'm
thinking
going
about your
to. I
foot.
intend to talk more about it later. In the Patreon.
Yeah. I was thinking about your foot
My
more
foot,
than anything.
that too. Yeah.
Because we had the first reason we were off for a week. My mom came to town, and we didn't want to have to juggle all that, and it was good to get a break. I was emotionally drained from that visit. Not because my mother is emotionally draining; she's really not. In some ways, she and I are very similar, and so we vibe well. But the dynamic between her and her sister, trying to manage that, so two grown women don't I don't know, do whatever they would do that would be negative that I'm trying to avoid.
They need a handler.
And when I stopped trying to be that person, because I just couldn't do it anymore, and I recognized that was the healthiest way, is to not insert myself and try and fix a 60-year-old problem between the two of them. The first question I got was, you sure are quiet. I don't have anything to say. You don't? Nope. Because in my head, I'm like, you don't want to fucking hear what I got to say. Anyway, so we went from that into finally getting our kitchen floor replaced. We, so first of all, if you don't recall, the kitchen floor got flooded from a faulty dishwasher back in October.
Yeah.
May 2025, we finally got the kitchen floors replaced. And we had originally been told the place who was going to it would be a month.
Right. It took us a hot minute to pick out the tile. And thankfully, they were very patient about that.
Yeah, 5 samples later. We kept coming in and carting out samples.
Yep.
And we were on our last thing, and I was like, if we don't pick it from here, we got to go somewhere else, because these people clearly don't have it.
And, then they sent the installers out to, give us the estimate and everything on putting it down. And he was here, Thursday? On a Thursday?
Came in on Thursday.
And, he's like, I can give, price was good.
Yeah, it was a good
Price was really good. And
not for like some back alley shoddy
no.
Hey, I got some grout under a trench coat kind of thing. Not that.
Have I got some tile for you?
Right. Not that kind of good deal.
But and then he rolls out. He goes, I can start Monday.
And we went.
We're like, what?
Please start Monday.
Yeah.
But it meant we had to then take another week off.
Because he said that, it was a 3-day process, and fine, first day in, rip out and clean and get it repaired, and then next day come in and put the tile down, and then following that,
and then the grout.
Yep. It's all done. The floor is done.
The trim work still has to
we
be done.
we have to put the trim work back in, and also we have to pull out the kick plate from the cabinets.
Which we think and hope and
That
cross
is
our
all
fingers
we have to be replaced. That
for
the
the
cabinets
cabinets.
themselves are okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So go from there.
Yeah, because the cabinets, whatever damage they might have sustained, would not be enough for our insurance to pay for all of the
them.
cabinets to be replaced. So we
Right.
would have like janky mismatch. I don't like our cabinets that much, but I don't want them to be mismatched either. So it's I'm like, if we don't have to worry about it, let's not. Now, in the middle of all this,
Yeah.
JB was supposed to show up the Monday, the 19th. That was the 19th, I think, when the floors were starting for jury duty.
Oh,
that's what he was supposed to
that's
do.
right.
And he kept forgetting, and I had to keep reminding him because he was dreading it and he didn't want to do it. Yeah. I'm the nosy bitch who's like, put me on a jury. The one time I did it, I fucking loved it. Oh, to be that nosy and to literally be mandated to judge something, I was in fucking heaven. Anyway, Jamie does not feel that way about jury duty and was dreading it. Now, we were also, like, I was trying to hype him up. First, I was like, oh, maybe they won't ask y'all to come in, and we used the notification system they had. He had to go. Then I was like, well, maybe they'll let you go that first day, and you just lose the one day, but no big deal. JB, what did you do to yourself? He hurt himself. He had to go to the doctor that Monday. Got out of jury duty, though.
I did. Lola and I kind of have this little thing. When she goes out in the backyard to do her thing, when she's done, she gets wound up, and she will charge full tilt. And we had kind of gotten into a routine when I see her start charging like that, I'll throw open the back door, she'll come running in, and I'll chase in right behind her and get her to play a little bit. And that's what I was aiming to do. And I threw open the back door, she came bolting in, and I wound myself up to come in right after her, and I slammed my foot on the door jamb.
Oh, the little pinky baby toe, somehow the worst toe ever hit. It hurts the worst of all of them, somehow. I don't understand why.
And, it hurt like a son of a bitch.
He basically screamed. The whole house came running, like, what is happening here?
And, kind of let it go. And, by later that evening, it was very swollen. And it had turned several shades of color.
Yeah, and it wasn't like, oh, it's a little red. We were at black. We were like verging on. That can't be healthy.
No. So decided to let it sit overnight and see how it felt in the morning. Come morning, it was more swollen, and the second toe was swollen. The colors were even more vivid.
Yeah, and we have a general understanding that usually with like a broken toe, they're probably going to tape it. There might not be much that they can do, but the colors were making us very nervous. I was like, that can't be right.
Right.
That can't be right.
So first thing contacted county.
Oh, let me tell you this. Though thankfully it's an online situation. We were prepared for him to have to call once the office opened.
Right.
But it's 5-something in the morning. We got up early. He was supposed to be at jury duty at 7:30.
7:30.
We didn't know what time the flooring people were going to be there. Like, we were just up and at him. And he stumbles back onto the bedroom after getting up and making his cup of coffee. He's like, I think I need to see a doctor. I'm like, okay, let's organize this. So I'm explaining to him, okay, you can't call the doctor's office till 7 a.m. Let me see. Right. And he was online trying to figure out what you're supposed to do for jury duty. I'm like, give me that phone. And I found where you can electronically request to be excused for something other than the reasons listed where it's an automatic excuse. And we were doing this day of, so I was like, you are probably gonna have to call and follow up. I wrote the little notification that was like, I hurt my foot over the weekend. I'm going to the doctor this morning to have it checked out. I will happily provide documentation of this visit if you need me to. And then an hour later?
No.
Less than
15, 20 minutes after that.
You get an automatic notification.
Yep.
You were excused.
Dismissed.
It's like, oh, okay. was like,
Yeah.
look, you had to like bang your foot up, but you got out of jury duty.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I off to the doctor. I went and spent the entire morning.
You were
There.
gone for a hot ass minute.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
they fit me. We didn't go to the ER, didn't go to urgent care. Went to called our
Primary.
and was able to get in because they do everything. They do everything in office anyway. Anywho, and went in. They did a X-ray of the foot and all that, and wasn't broken. No sign of a fracture. So she was like, keep it iced and elevated.
But it took what, like 2.5 hours to be told that,
Yeah.
which was fine. At least you
Yeah.
got to see our primary care. We like that office because
Mm-hmm.
they have enough doctors that if your primary care isn't available, like on a same day appointment, they can usually get you into somebody else.
Right.
And all the doctors, well, except for one we've encountered there, have been great.
Mm-hmm.
But we get so much better care from our primary because she's got all the history. She knows us. It's like when he was having to go in for something else he was dealing with, when we finally got in to see her, she was like, yeah, keep going down that line, but it could just be this. Here's a medication. And 2 weeks later, she's like, I feel so much better. Like, yeah, I wish we could have gone to her first.
Right.
So, yeah, I was glad you could at least get in with her.
So, it took a hot minute for me to be able to put shoes on.
And he kept whacking that toe on things.
Of course.
Every day.
Kinda
At
like-
least once.
And that's kind of like when you bite your lip or your cheek
inside
or
your mouth
something.
and then
You
you keep doing it?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Except, I mean, I felt a lot of empathy when you bite your tongue or the inside of your mouth.
Mhm.
But, I was ready to cry with you every time you hit that damn toe on something.
Right.
Because JB is not a loud, opposites attract, right? Not a loud person. He's not overly vocal. He does not show his distress verbally. This man was screaming. It hurt so bad.
It hurt.
And
It hurt.
me and the youngest, no matter where we were in the house, we were just converging because we were like, clearly he's dying. We have to go. Nope, he just whacked his damn toe.
Yeah.
How is it feeling now? Over
it's-
a week later, week and a half later.
It's feeling better. Yesterday I worked out in the shop. Did have my work boots on, my work shoes, and excuse me. As long as I did not walk too much, I was fine. The work boots are still kind of uncomfortable with the toe,
Yeah.
but definitely getting better. It's still just a smidge swollen.
I mean, it might be less swollen if you elevated it and put
More,
ice on
yeah,
it.
I know. Yeah.
What do I know? I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
So, yeah, that was my whole thing. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, jury duty. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you forgot about it. You couldn't remember the jury duty when you thought you had to go. I thought I was
know,
going to have
yeah.
to drive him there. Be like, no, really, you're supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And I was not jealous because I will happily serve on a jury, but I'm not looking for fucking jury duty. Like, I'm not seeking it out, but I will accept it if it comes my way. So I was not unhappy that you didn't have to deal with it. And I wasn't jealous. I would not say I was jealous, but man, I please ask me to make it my job so I'm judging. That's delightful. Because I'm not judgmental in that I'd like stop and I make myself think before I, react or respond to something where you could be judgmental. But that initial thought is always fucking judgmental. And if it doesn't matter and I'm never going to voice the thought, I am so fucking judgmental. I was grateful that you did not have jury duty throughout the floor stuff being done.
Yeah.
Because, one, I don't really want to talk to strangers, even if they're in my house. So yeah, the morning you were gone, and the guys who were doing the floors, they were fine. They were professional. They did their thing. They looked young, and I guess I'm now at an age where anybody who's not 45 looks young to me.
Yeah.
Guess this just happened. But yeah, I was happy that you could be around for all the rest of it. Because then I could just go, oops, I'm not around. Let me go find something else to do.
You got to babysit Lola.
Oh, yes. We didn't want to keep her in her crate for all that time.
No.
That was no good.
No.
So we kept her in the office so that she had access to going outside. We brought her water in here so she, she wasn't going to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But the amount of crying.
Yeah. And it's not that she's aggressive or anything, because she's not.
No.
She loves people, and that was the deciding factor, because she probably would not have left them alone.
No, she'd have tried to be all up in their business.
She's very curious, so she would have been in there trying to figure out what they're doing and why they're doing it.
It was funny. I prepared them. I was like, look, we're going to have our dog in the other room. She will cry. She's fine. She just sounds pitiful. And if she sees you, she'll probably bark. They're like, okay, no problem. No big deal.
Yeah.
Well, they laughed their ass off that the first day, because she just cried and cried and cried.
Yeah.
And I did not want to be in there with her because JB wasn't there. I wanted to be out and available if the guys needed anything. So I'm sitting in the living room, reading my book, living my best fucking life, listening to the dog cry as if we have broken her heart.
Right.
And then by the end of day 2, and then definitely into day 3, they would be more visible because they would be at that end of the kitchen next to the door leading into the office. And she would stand there and she would bark, but it was not her big girl mean voice.
No.
It was her, who the fuck are you voice.
Right.
And it would get them laughing.
And the tail was doing the metronome.
And the pity ears were up, like standing at attention pity ears. And they would just talk to her through the door. So my favorite part is what she would do with judgment in her eyes. She would see them bark, like, who the fuck are you? And then if she caught one of us in her line of sight, she would turn to look at us and go, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Who are these people? Like, I'm not letting you out. You're just going to sit there and be sad. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, she did not spend a lot of time in the office after the floors were done.
No.
She's in here now. She's sleeping on her cot. But yeah, no, that was basically 2.5 days. She was like, that's enough. I'm done now. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was our adventures.
Yep.
The week we were meant to be on a break, I tried to do that right. It did not do a lot of work. Then when we found ourselves like with another break, I was going, like the 3 days with the floors, I could do some, I couldn't do a lot, whatever, which was fine. But then there was like that Thursday, Friday, I'm like, I could work. And I went, but I really don't feel like it. So I've kind of had 2 weeks off, give or take. There's packaging orders and there's some stuff that has to happen no matter what. But it's like, oh. And then, shockingly enough, I had a lot of energy when this week started and was ready to be productive. It's almost like when you take a break, it is easier to get things done when you're done with your break. I know. Who knew? Who knew? So now I'm sitting in this office where middle of the day, working in here in the middle of the day is almost impossible. And we have things piled up. They're all jobs for me. I have to process that. I have to put away that. I need to do that. I need to figure out where this is going. And it's been sitting here for 3 weeks, some of it. I'll get to it.
No, I started digging through some of it the other day.
Yeah, poor JB, every time he turns around, I'm like, here's another empty box. And it's not like a box, it's like 8 by 8. It's like 2 feet by 2 feet and probably a foot deep. It's like this massive, I'm like, here. And then I realized every once in a while I end up on a certain side of the algorithm, typically like straight people married side of an algorithm, which is fascinating. And then I go, oh, I guess that's me too. And I am the stereotype of the wife who has never broken down a box in her life. She thinks they just live in the garage, and then The box fairy makes them go away. I would not know. I mean, I'm a functional adult. I know that you break down the box and you put it, and I'd put it out there for the, but I don't know what process he has. I don't know which ones he breaks down and which ones he keeps whole. I don't know. Does he put them out the night before the trash pickup when we put down the barrels, or does he go out in the morning? There's a whole system. I'm not aware of it.
Right.
I just put it in the garage.
There's a whole system, and there's variables that go along with it.
And
so.
I'm not fucking up a good system if it already works. I'll just make him aware of a box, and my job is done. So,
yeah.
But yeah, for all intents and purposes, we're back. We're on a modified schedule.
Yep.
Part of me feels very good about that, and then part of me, who is a people pleaser from way back, is like, oh, somebody will be disappointed. Oh, I feel selfish for taking care of myself. I really need to work on that.
You do. So,
I think taking a certain amount of a break is what allows us to, like, maybe have new ideas or look at things from a fresh perspective.
And retain our sanity.
Well, there's that. I mean, I feel like I gave that up many years ago. I think the day I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to record my thoughts on this janky laptop sitting in a closet. But I don't know on the calendar what date this will fall on. We will celebrate our 10th podcast anniversary in August.
Yeah.
We've got some ideas for some giveaways. No clue beyond that. Like, hadn't gotten that far, but we will. And I feel like if I say it, I can't forget our anniversary. There have been years, I literally forgot until we were like almost in September, and I'm like, oh yeah.
By the way, yeah, this is kind of a big one though.
Yeah, it's 10 years. Yeah. Yeah, we should not ignore it.
No.
Or forget it, really. Not ignore it, just forget it. But all that being said, I am starting to feel sick to my stomach again. And my neck coolie thing is melty, and there's no cooling properties left.
Time to turn out some of these lights and open doors again.
Yeah. And put on my raggedy sleeveless shirt that shows way too much, so I would not wear it on camera. But, man, at least it's a little cooler.
Yeah.
So I guess that means we're going to go.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here to the bitter end.
Absolutely.
For anybody who sent in a question, gave us a question, thank you so much for that. And we will talk to y'all next week.
Bye.